Hey, what's going on, YouTube? HeirofCarthage here. For goodness sakes, I'm sorry I've been gone for a week, or probably a little longer. I was out of town some, and to be quite honest, Heir is only about a month away from the big day, and I'm going to be married, so I have a lot going on. Plus, there's been a lot of projects at work, so I actually ended up working last weekend. I didn't have to work this weekend, but I had a lot of stuff going on. In any case, here I am. Let's get down to some business. There's a bunch of videos that you can expect soon. I'm going to keep working on the 20th video celebration things. I put out, I think, 3 or 4 of those videos last week, and I'm going to put out a couple more this week. I don't know exactly when. I just can't tell you for sure on my schedule. But for now, all I really have time to make you is some online commentary, but I think a lot of you enjoy that, so hopefully you'll be excited for it. What I wanted to show you is a little bit of advice today on Shogun 2, and this is what I do when I want to make my Naginatas a little more effective. So if you all want to add your opinions and your further advice, I do not always get the whole picture right, and there's a lot of people who are good at this, so if you have extra advice regarding Naginata armies, put it down in the comments section. Now, what I am not doing here is trying to encourage Naginata spam. You all have seen me use this type of army a lot, and I get a lot of questions about it. And I know that Naginata spam has been an issue recently too, and if you want to go back a couple of videos, I actually faced a Naginata spam, so some of you may have seen that. Let me show you what I've got. Here's my Naginata veterans. We'll take a look through them. It seems like I have some that have upgraded. I've got clan melee defense on them. This one has clan token melee defense. You can tell right there because it went up to 15. I want to say I've got one that's got 18. Yeah, it's this one right here. It's got 2 clan token upgrades to melee defense. I have not upgraded armor on some of these, and I very well could, and the upgraded armor is also a big benefit. You can get your Naginatas up to 11 armor by using clan upgrade and the famous armory. Let me show you the retainers that I use when I'm using a Naginata Samurai type army. Now this is not a Naginata monk build, this is a Naginata Samurai focus. There's probably other ones you can use, so like I said, if you want to put your stuff down in the comments, please go ahead. This is not the only way to do it. I'm using trading posts just because I like getting the units a little cheaper. It takes 4% off recruitment. I'm using the untrained Fugu Cook to nerf enemy swords in case I came up against a high attack sword army. I'm using World Weary to further nerf any veterans or those swords. And then I'm using Infantry Officer to boost the morale of all my samurai troops. And then I'm using Famous Armory to increase the armor. Now armor plays a huge role in melee, and that's one of the reasons why Naginata Samurai are able to fare well, even though their attack is much lower than swords. Between their defense and the armor, that's what helps balance it out. So where Naginata Samurai are going to get pummeled is on the charge. But sometimes if you allow your Naginata Samurai to stay in a more defensive position, they will excel, even though their stats don't necessarily match up against Katana Samurai. So I have some Naginata that I upgraded their bonus first cav. That was kind of a waste of money and I shouldn't have done it. Or I put like a speed upgrade. Also shouldn't have done that. Or this is a stamina upgrade. That one I'm kind of up in the air about. Speed I don't think really is worth it. But stamina I'm not really sure because it keeps your guys, when your guys are fresh, they fight better. And so, I mean, there's definitely some kind of trade there. So I'm going to pick a few of my good Naginata troops. That one's got 15 defense. I'll try and find another one that's got 15 defense. I know this guy does. So I'll pick him as well. So I'm going to get a couple of really strong Naginatas. Now I'm not going to have an entire army of Naginata Samurai because that's just too one-sided. That's the reason why I was able... Now there's a number of reasons why I was able to beat that Naginata spam not too long ago. Number one is the guy didn't use it very well. But a lot of you might say, well, if used well it's invincible. That's not true. Naginata Samurai, without the right kind of general and without the right kind of upgrades, tire out very quickly. Their stamina is not as good. And their attack is very low, so if they get tired and into, you know, the right position in a fight, they'll actually get beat up pretty badly. So it's something that you need to avoid. Trying to think what I got. So it's just, I wonder how those two guys are the same price. Even though I've got an extra upgrade on bonus first cav there. Huh, interesting. I must have like a speed boost or something on one of those. I'm not sure what the deal is. I don't need the extra bonus versus cav, to be quite honest. It's just, let's see, we'll use Old Roy, or no, that's the one that's got the bonus versus cav. We'll use Nagi this Nada. So I usually like to bring 3 Naginata Samurai as a good base. You could bring a little more or a little less based on what you want to do. And then I like to bring some good support units. Unfortunately, some of my favorite support units are damaged right now, which is this Long Yari. They are an excellent unit to support Naginata Samurai with. I'll bring this, well, actually I don't want to bring the Waka Raider either because I'm not using the boost to, I'm not using the Blade Master right now, so I'm actually going to want to reconsider this. What I could do, that's a little bit risky. Here's what we could do. Let's bring another Nagi Sam, so we'll bring 4. This is not something I typically do, but I'll do it this time. That one's got a lot of bonus first cav. I don't need that. I'll bring 4 Naginata Samurai. Like I said, not typical for me, but that's what I'll do this time. And then what I'll do is bring some, because these guys aren't going to have a lot of killing power. They're going to be more of a defensive unit. So I need to bring some units to make up for the killing power that those guys would otherwise have. These Daiki Samurai are beat up. I've got these bows that I can bring. They'll do some killing. And then I'll supplement that with a Matchlock Monk. A Matchlock Monk can cause a lot of havoc if you get in the right position. So right now I'm still just a little bit light on infantry. I've only got 4 heavy infantry units. I'm going to want to add to that. I've also spent quite a bit of money on what I do have though. So I have 2 options here. I can either support these guys with extra cavalry, because really the killing power right now that I have is right here. So I can support these guys with extra cav, or maybe a hero unit or something like that, but again that's very expensive, so I don't think that I want to get into a hero unit. I do need to pick some cav though. I'll bring some warrior monk cav. I don't use it all the time. Let's bring one that's got Warcry. And then I'll just bring a couple of standard units. This army's already getting pretty expensive. It's kind of risky, to be honest, just because I don't have a whole lot of infantry. I could supplement it with a lot of attendant infantry. I know that some of you hate that, but honestly it's a pretty sound strategy. So unless they change the attendants, I mean it's going to remain as a pretty sound strategy. See, I do have quite a bit of money left. I could use it on another unit to help out. This Tetsubo Monk unit would be a pretty good one. Dang it puts me $10 over. Because it's got Warcry, and the price point's about right. I need something just a smidge cheaper than that. I haven't upgraded that unit, so it's no good. Man, I've got too many Naginatas, though. I don't like that. My army's going to be way too lopsided. Sorry, I'm just thinking this through a little bit here, YouTube. You know what I may want to do is throw a Katana Cav in here. It would be a good unit to help add some killing power to my army. You don't usually want to carry too many of these guys, just because it's hard to micromanage them. But yeah, we got a good Katana Cav unit here. We'll throw it in the mix. Okay, let's go give this army a try. I'm going to stop recording until I get a match, and let's go give it a try, and we'll talk about the pros and cons. I'm very Naginata heavy here. That is a benefit in the fact that I'm going to be pretty impervious to missiles. This does make me very, very vulnerable to a sword army. That's what my bows and my cav are there to make up for, but if I get hit by a sword rush army, only my cav, bows, and matchlock would be able to save me. So this army is powerful against cavalry. It's weak against high attack infantry. So that's kind of the benefit of this, just so you'll understand. Anyway, let's go grab a match. Alright, I've got a match here. It's against someone in the Irons clan. It looks like he's the same rank as me, so that's kind of cool. Let's see, it says he favors balanced armies. He's a journeyman swordsman, famous leader, just like Patchy. So this is a pretty even match here. It's on the rice fields. There's plenty of room to maneuver cav, and plenty of room for your matchlocks. This will be an interesting setting for this army that I have. My Naginata Monk Cav and my Katana Cav are excellent at taking out sword units. And so are my bows and my matchlocks. My Naginatas, though, are low in numbers, and it's going to be tricky business. So I'm going to have to make good use of my bows and my cav if this army is a risk. Like I said, if my opponent brings a sword army, it's a major risk for me. Let's see what he brings, and we'll talk about the outcome. And this may give you a little bit of an idea about how to use Naginata armies, whether for the good or for the bad. Some of you think they're overpowered. I tend to disagree. There's definitely strengths and weaknesses to him. However, I'm not going to avoid the obvious truth that a Naginata Samurai, if used properly, is a very powerful unit. But I think that it was kind of meant to be that way. It is not a one-size-fits-all solution, so don't depend on him for everything. But like I said, I think that whenever the patch first came and fixed the lone swords, that Naginatas were overpowered, but they've since addressed a lot of that. So I don't think that they're overpowered anymore, though you shouldn't just assume that a sword unit's going to cut through a Naginata unit just because of the attack difference. Because there's a lot of other factors at play that I explained to you, i.e. defense, armor, and morale. So keep those things in mind. So, like I said, my Naginata Samurai are going to be high morale here because they've got the boost of morale from Patchy. He has the increased army morale factor. And then also they've got the infantry officer. So they're going to be very high morale. And they're going to have very high armor. But they're very few in numbers. So what they really become is a holding force to where you have to use your bows, matchlocks, and cav effectively. So losing a cav battle, in this case, would be very bad for me. Now I could, in theory, sacrifice my monk cav in a holding maneuver to get my katana cav into the back of his infantry. But a lot of players bring attendants, and it becomes a real nuisance for katana cav. My opponent played Fugu Cook, which is good for me. That means he's basically wasted a retainer. Whether or not my Fugu Cook is worthwhile, we'll find out in a moment. I'm going to want that attack and this workshop. The workshop is going to just further increase the armor of my Nagis. So I definitely want to vie for that workshop. I'm going to do this by putting basically a couple of Naginata attendants up front. I'm not going to put many. I don't want them all up there at least, because you can end up with a bad effect to morale due to the routing of Naginata attendants. I'm going to keep my matchlocks towards the back and use them at an opportune moment. I do, however, want my bows up within skirmishing range. Oh, they were already in loose formation, my bad. I'm going to put Patchy back here. And I'm going to put my spare Nagi attendant back here with Patchy to help protect him. My katana cav, I don't want my opponent to know that I have it right off the bat, though I don't want to forget about it at the same time. Just because people zone in on katana cav, and they keep an eye on it because they know what a threat it is to their army. So I need to go vie for those two buildings. My opponent has readied up. It's pretty much time for me to ready up. I'm going to group my units here just to get ready to move them quickly. Like I said, we're going to make a quick run for those two dojos. Keep in mind, too, your archers do receive a slight cover bonus in the rice fields whenever you're fighting here, so it's something to keep in mind. So I'm going to quickly move my units. Let's take a look at his army. I do see a lot of sword units up, but nothing out of the ordinary. He's got 2 matchlocks. So I have a skirmishing advantage. Nagi attendants. His swords aren't looking that good. He's got some good monk cav though. One of them has a war cry similar to my own. His swords probably would beat my guys in a fight. Sorry, I may not be able to talk the whole time because I gotta actually maneuver and think here. I think he's still got some more cav hidden. I do not want to spring my katana cav yet. That would be a bad idea. I'm going to pull up within range of his matchlocks and hopefully cut them down with my archers. I'm a little too close to him. I should be using my longer range, but I think this will still turn out alright. I'm going to move my Nagi attendants into capture position. My opponent's still moving, so this is an opportunity for me to strike with my archers. Hopefully my Nagi attendants will disrupt his matchlocks. He's got one of the hero matchlock units here and a heavy gunner, so I need to take them out fast. I think he's targeting my attendants though, rather than my bows. So this should give me a a chance to cause quite a bit of damage here. I'm going to charge this one attendant up. My opponent's probably getting ready to rush.
Our men are running from the battlefield! Shameful display!
Trying to get my katana cab around to the rear. My opponent's got a lot of exposed troops, but his matchlocks are getting shots on me.
My lord.
I'm gonna have to act fast here. Okay, I got a route going there. Let's go mop up his matchlocks. Need to transfer these units over into combat over here. Cav fight's going okay for me. Seems like I lost track of one of my monk calves somewhere, but I'm not sure where because things are crazy.
Our men are running from the battle.
He's all over my general right now. I did win the cav fight. My opponent has mismanaged a few of his troops in the backfield, which has worked to my advantage. Oh, that's where my other monk cav was. It's fighting his general. I do have a few infantry units left over here, so this is going to turn out to my favor. We'll go back and we'll watch this replay. I mismanaged a few things here, and my opponent mismanaged a few things here, so I think there's some good lessons to learn. The battle's not quite over yet, though. I need to finish off his cav. I did finish off his matchlocks. I gotta keep my cav free of his spears. He's chasing them. I have this katana cav here that's still gonna be very useful, and I don't want to get caught up in his Naginata Samurai. Those guys will lay waste to my cav.
Men are running from the battlefield.
Wow, this monk cav he's got back here is just really putting up a fight. His men might well overcome me here. I've got to try and get these katana cav in. I'll also try and take out his general. This is going to be a really close one. I can throw my nagi attendants into the mix here too. I got to keep pulling my cav out away from his spears and running hammer and anvil charges if I hope to succeed here. Let's make another run for his general. I forgot I had my matchlocks back here. Crap. It's mismanagement on my part. Hopefully I can take down his general's bodyguard right there. This is going to end up being a pretty darn good fight. I'm going to get his general here, though. That's going to deliver a pretty bad morale blow. So you can see that my infantry did eventually get eaten up by his just due to numbers.
Our general has
But my guys made a pretty heroic stand.
But must leave the battle.
There we go. I finally got the route going. Yeah, I'm definitely going to be interested to go back and watch this replay and check out my mistakes versus my opponent's mistakes. That was a close one. Close one indeed. I think this battle illustrates some of the strengths and weaknesses of the army that I brought, and some of the strengths and weaknesses that the army that my opponent brought. So I'll catch you in the replay, but let's check out the statistics real quick, and then I'll catch you in the replay. Or actually, we'll just go watch the replay, and I can show you the statistics from that. So, or I don't know, maybe we should look at the statistics, because that'll give us a handle on where to look when we go watch the replay. It's an interesting fight. I mismanaged my matchlocks for sure. They did get some good kills at certain points of the battle, but I didn't re-allot them to help with that fight, and so I nearly lost in the end because of that. I did keep one of my bow units alive, which gathered me a lot of kills, and I also managed to win the cav fight, which I think is where my opponent mismanaged his cav, and he allowed some of my cav to get into his general, or at least use his general to slow my cav down. So I think that was a few mistakes on his part. What he did good, though, is he got his infantry up all over mine, and right into my general pretty early. I was pretty impressed, though. My Naginatas held out pretty heroically there, considering that was 4 units of Naginata up against probably 5 or 6 units of swords. So I thought they held out pretty well. Now, some of his swords didn't have the best statistics, but a few of them did have some pretty decent stats. So, like I said, it'll be interesting to check this out. Let's see how it worked. So let's skip to the summary here. I do not want the Matchlock Warrior Monk Veteran, don't need it. Let's see, unit statistics. My Katana Cavalry cleaned house. Look at the kills that this Naginata Samurai got right there, 214. Like I said, these guys can be absolute beasts sometimes. Next in line was my, so really only 2 units of my Naginatas did very well. You can see the other 2 took a lot more losses to not so many kills, so it looks like 2 of my units did well, and 2 did not. So let's remember that Nagi the Sonata and Patchy's Pincushion did the best, and we'll watch them and try and get a handle on why. These Monk Cav did very well. Most proud of that Katana Cav, though, Pony Princess Barbie. Yeah, they did very well. My Bow Samurai, I guess, did okay. I wouldn't say it was great. These Monk Cav did alright, considering that they were fighting only Cav. And then Patchy got a pretty fair number of kills there, 38 kills. Not bad for a bodyguard who was in stand-and fight against so many swords. There's my opponent's kills. You can see, let's count it up real quick. So you had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Katana Samurai, 6 Katana Samurai. So I had 4 Naginata units up against 6 Katana Samurai. My opponent, I think, spent too much money on his skirmishers as well for not enough men. So he had the heavy gunners and this Matchlock hero unit, both of them very deadly but low in numbers. That might have been part of the reason that didn't work out for him. In any case, let's go watch the replay and dissect it. Alright, the replay is about to begin here. Now, I want you all to know that because of the charge on Yari Cav and some of the upgrades you can put on them, Yari Cav are quite capable of defeating Monk Cav due to the large bonus verse Cav that Yari Cav get. The one reason why I find Monk Cav to still be useful is the war cry, and also they're better versus infantry than Yari Cav. So let's take a closer look at my opponent's troops here. If you look at his Monk Cav, these guys statistically look just as good or better than my Monk Cav. Yeah, they're a little better, statistically speaking, as far as attack goes and defense. They're pretty close. Pretty close. Let's take a look at his swords to get a better handle on that. I'll try and get you some close-ups here. So let's see, that unit's got 18 attack, 6 defense, 18 attack, 18 attack, 18, 10. So this unit is a fresh unit, and so is this one. So my Fugu Cook saved me from being up against 20 attack swords here. Take a look at his matchlocks. Like I said, these guys are very good. 45 reload, 72 accuracy, 30 reload, 52 accuracy. Those guys are good. They're just really outranged by my bows, and their reload time is going to be slower than my bows. And since I'm disrupting with Nagi attendants, it doesn't give him a clean shot at my bows. Now, he could take shots at my bows with the heavy gunners, and it would shred through. But this at least allows me a little bit of disruption. I don't remember if my opponent allowed me to capture this building or not, but like I said, let's just watch this and dissect. So here comes my bow fire into his matchlock unit. I think I actually missed-targeted, though. I might have targeted his Nagi attendant by accident. There goes the heavy gunners. Let's watch. You can see them plowing through my Nagi attendants. I don't know if he clicked a fire order. There's his... so both his matchlock units were focus fire on one Nagi attendant, so that was a big waste. Here's my bows. They're laying down fire. His matchlocks are dropping. I don't believe he is change targets. He's still targeting the one matchlock unit. This bow has taken a third losses.
Our men are running from
Okay,
the battlefield.
let's pause real quick and take a look at the battlefield. Hopefully this doesn't bother you all. Like I said, I'm trying to dissect this to get the best field. My opponent goes for an outflanking maneuver. This is smart, and the way he deploys it is pretty smart. He's got a Naginata Samurai supporting a Katana Samurai, so this makes them a little less vulnerable to cav, and allows it to be a viable flanking option when he knows that his cav is on the other side of the field. So I think that was a pretty smart move. The way he's advancing his troops, he's got spears mixed in with his swords so that I can't just make a direct assault with Katana Cav. So that's also a pretty smart move. Let's take a look at the positioning of my army. My bows are still out front right now skirmishing. I've got my line of Naginatas, and I've turned one unit to help absorb. And then I've got my matchlocks moving to support against this flank. And I've got my Katana Cav moving in the direction of the opposite flank. So I'm trying to go around his monk Cav. To where he does not have a speedy response to my Katana Cav, and you can see that I'm moving my Monk Cav to his right flank, so we're both making outflanking gestures at the moment. So I'm going to put it into slow motion just for a second, because I kind of want to make sure that I catch a few of these points. I know some of you hate slow motion. I can't figure out why. I won't leave the whole battle there. So let's see. I'm still firing on his matchlocks. My guys aren't killing these heavy gunners quite as fast as I expected them to. Not really sure what the reasoning is there. I just heard, okay, that was me rallying my troops. That rally was probably a little bit early, and then my Inspire was a little bit early as well, so that was a mistake on my part. But you can see the stats on this Naginata Samurai once I've rallied and inspired it. 18 attack, 15 defense, 14 morale. Here my Naginata monks opening fire on this flanking regiment here. So you can see that his swords are going to be taking some pretty serious losses. Yeah, they took almost 30 losses, and then 4 to the Naginata, so my monks are going to help even the fight out here on the flank. Okay, he's using Naginata attendants to charge in first. I'm not sure this is a great move. It kind of is, it kind of isn't. I think the extra routing is bad for the morale of your men, and these guys pretty much are guaranteed to rout, but it also throws weight of numbers in there, so it's kind of hard to say. Let's take a look at the cav action. My cav's still moving on his flank. My opponent hasn't left these guys in a very good position to defend against Hammer and Anvil, and he's thrown his Naginata Samurai into the fight rather than using them to protect against Hammer and Anvil. Over here he doesn't have cav. This allows my matchlock monks to run away and position themselves to keep shooting at the people in this flanking action. This is my strongest unit of Naginata Samurai, so it's going to do the best at holding out against his men. You can see it's racking up kills pretty quick even in slow motion. Let's see, Patchy's in stand and fight, but he's very close to the front of my line, so that was a mistake. I should have put him further back. My archers are intermixed with him, which is going to take down some of their kills. So here's kind of the state of affairs here. My opponent's going to get the charge, but like I said, your Naginata units sometimes do better on the defensive anyway. So here comes the sword charge.
Our general is in great
He's going to get some kills on the
danger, my lord.
charge, but the defense of my Naginatas is going to be very useful there. Over here, it looks like I'm taking my Katana Cav around to outflank, plus my Matchlock monks are going to start shooting the rest of those flanking forces. You can see that my Naginata Samurai here have already racked up 75 kills, very effective. So my opponent's kind of blobbed up over here, but he does have me pretty outnumbered in the center. I'm kind of moving this unit up to hold him. My guys in the center are taking way more losses than kills. That's probably due to the charge effect. My opponent's general's kind of come up the center here to support his guys. He's got very high attack and morale, so his general is a tough unit. This is where my opponent makes a huge mistake. So check out this Naginata monk cav charge. My opponent totally gives me the charge, and so I get a free charge, catch his horses on the hoof, and this is going to give my monk cav the little bit that they need to help win this cav fight. You'll notice that I didn't blob all my cav into the fight and commit them. Here I make the move of taking these guys over to intercept the enemy general. However, there was some Naginata Samurai nearby, but I caught the enemy general dismounting right there basically. But these Naginata Samurai are coming to support. Over here my Katana Cav has run its Hammer and Anvil. You can see guys flying everywhere. Katana Cav is a heavy Cav, and they will definitely chuck people everywhere during the fight. They are good for Hammer and Anvil, even against spear units. You just don't want to leave them there for too long. So you can see that that charge pretty much crushed the morale of the men in this area, even though their guys were finally starting to kill my Naginata Samurai. Up the center, his guys are definitely winning this fight by sheer weight of numbers. and he's got men to spare over here, so these guys are getting torn to shreds. They've only gotten 30-something kills. Let's put it back into regular speed at this point. You see the heavy gunners there taking shots at my bow monks. That's where I broke my my katana cav loose at this point into these hero matchlocks, and then I'm going to run them on into the heavy gunners. So here's my katana cav going in for... Whoa, that guy got blasted off his horse. That was awesome. So did that guy. So that's going to pin down the katana cav. My monk cav's still caught up against some spears back in here, so hopefully I get them out of there. And you can see the cav fight back here finally going in my favor. So this Nagi Samurai ended up doing good because they were inspired and they had the support of the matchlock units. And the other units did bad because they didn't have that support. Let's see, my katana cav's still back here trying to avoid these Naginata Samurai. So it looks like I am going to pull them loose. Looks like my monk cav actually left him there to die. That was a pretty bad mistake on my part. This is a mistake here too. I haven't reallocated these matchlock monks. Huge mistake on my part. I have reallocated my bow monks though. You can see them shooting into the mix over here. Got Patchy here. His unit making a pretty tough stand there. Here's my katana cav running hammer and anvils. Here's a strike into the enemy general. He does still have spears in the vicinity though, which is why I kept running my men in and out. Don't want to leave those cav in an extended melee against spears. Just use them for the morale effect. That's all you need, is the quick morale effect of hitting them back. You can see my guys pulling out instantly there. And it's a good thing Patchy had the sword upgrades he did, or else he would have never lasted any longer than that in that fight. Yeah, this is where my matchlock monks are going to come back into play. You can see my guys spewing arrows into that mix. Enemy general right here gets tagged by my monk cav, and that's going to be bad news. Bad news indeed for the other player. Looks like the enemy player pulled his guy out of stand and fight, trying to get closer to the fight. Here's my matchlocks. They're going to start opening up on the flanks of these guys. They do overlap my men, which give my matchlocks a clear line of sight. You can see my cav chucking people there. Again though, just quickly getting into the fight and out with my cav. Wow, that was a close one indeed. See my matchlocks tagging people there. Close fight indeed. So I hope you all got to learn something here. So apparently the lesson that I've seen here is that Naginata Samurai really needs support units in order to be successful. And if you don't have those support units, they're going to get cut up, just like my Naginata units in the center did. So it kind of depends a little bit on positioning. Now, if I'd had like a superior hill position or something, I think that my Nagi Samurai in the center could have stood their ground even better. The problem that you have with Nagi Samurai is they're vulnerable to a charge, and they're also they need support units. So they don't have the killing power usually to just straight up take down sword units. And that lack of killing power means that you need to support them with bows or cav. So Naginata make a great all-around unit. They're not good at any one particular thing, but they're good at many things. So they're not the best at attack, they're not the best versus cav, but they are good at both. So they're kind of a middle-of-the-road unit for those of you who may not understand them yet. Whereas, for instance, if you want a really good unit on the charge, an Odachi Samurai coming into a Naginata Samurai would probably kill, 30 or 40 of the Naginatas on the charge. So that would give you an idea of kind of the difference between the units. However, the Odachi Samurai have very low defense, and when they get into a drawn-out fight, a lot of them are going to start dying. There's the results again. So in any case, I hope you all enjoyed this. What I'm planning on doing for the future, I talked about a show that you all are still giving me suggestions for. It'll be something to the order of Air breaks down, your replays in a similar manner to this. So this is a little bit of a taste of what I'll do. Yes, I can do better still. I understand that this won't be perfect, but it allows you to hear my breakdown of the game, and then now you all can break down what you thought I did. Did I get this right? Did I get it wrong? Put your suggestions in the comments. Do try and be constructive, though. Especially, this is my replay, and if you trash on my replay, that's fine, especially if you're trying to be constructive, but a lot of you really bashed on the replays that I'm using for my 20th celebration vid, like, oh, these aren't the best replays ever. Well, I'm using the replays my fans sent me. I can't demand that my fans send me what we all consider to be epic. And I thought some of those replays were pretty fun, actually. And I think it gives me an opportunity to teach what I know about the game, which isn't everything, but it gives me a chance to teach. So like I said, throw in your input, be constructive. If you don't like the replay, that's fine. I can't tell you to like it, but do try and be constructive about it and not just insulting, which I think most of you have been, and I appreciate that. In any case, HeirofCarthage, I'm going to sign off for now, and I will see you all back soon, YouTube, with some more videos.